we want to make sure we're thinking about food and we're talking about it and we have some intentionality around it. But we also want to make sure it doesn't take over our lives.
Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose? You're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. I'm so glad to have you all back for another really remarkable episode of Female Founder Unplugged. I have my good friend, fellow Lindsay, nutrition guru, Lindsay Martens. This is another Lindsay. We love the Lindsays. Lindsays are special people. I have Lindsay here with me today to talk about how are we going to take care of ourselves, particularly through the food we put in our mouth, because you can't lead anybody or anything if you're not fueling up properly. And I am the worst. Lindsay was just laughing at me because I'm here at my desk working my butt off like I always do. And I'm showing her what my scrappy little lunch looks like. And it's a couple ham sticks and some actually really good cheese. I like good cheese. And then a few crackers. I got some nuts going for later. Like it's all, I mean, then this is the tricky part, Linz, right? Like as business owners, founders, man, it's hard to get in good nutrition sometimes. Anyways, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are. What do you do? What's your deal? What's your jam?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Lindsay White. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm Lindsay Martens. I'm a registered dietitian and founder of Lindsay Martens Nutrition. So it's easy to find me. I run a few programs and I'm the compassionate disruptor of women's health. And I like to feel like a warm hug because I feel like there's not enough of that in this space. There's a lot of shoulds and shouldn'ts and really a lot of motivational words that are kind of wrapped in a lot of judgment and shame. And so I try to be the opposite of that and really provide that opportunity to create something very meaningful and sustainable in your life.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. And it is, I'll tell you, I spend a lot of time with Linz. It is like a warm hug. She makes you feel really good about that. Yeah. Sometimes you don't eat great. Like, let's be honest, right? None of us, we're the progress, not the perfection here. But she does. She really is able to help you embrace sort of what do you need and how do you want to really fuel yourself? And I love that because we talk a lot on the show about leadership and we talk about leadership in our business, leading our clients, leading our team, leading our contractors or consultants. But ultimately, it all starts with self-leadership. And, ain't nobody happy if mama ain't happy. And if you are not eating right, if you are not thinking about your nutrition, then how the hell are you going to be a good leader in your business and your life? Like, come on.
Oh, yeah. No, it does matter a lot. I do often, I'm going to preface it with this, though, where I say food is important, but it's not that important. So we want to make sure we're thinking about food and we're talking about it and we have some intentionality around it. But we also want to make sure it doesn't take over our lives, right? Because then we also can't be a good leader. We can't do that if all we're thinking about is food and we're preoccupied with it also. So there's that really interesting line to kind of tiptoe and be around. And part of the way to walk that line is to spend some time connecting with your own needs. And that sounds tricky because I think a lot of us really have a hard time with that. We're so used to eating by the clock or eating what somebody told us we should be eating. It can be really difficult to kind of put that stuff down for a second and connect with our own needs. What do we need right now? What is our body screaming at us that it needs in this moment? Maybe it's so thirsty and it's been telling you it's been thirsty for days and you just haven't been listening. But, you know, we kind of have gotten to this place in our culture where we're overthinking a very physical thing. So
isn't that the truth? Like, this is like human, like level one kind of needs requirement on the pyramid is like.
Exactly. Basic need.
Basic need. Well, and to your point, you need water more than you need food. Like, we're just a complicated houseplant. Like, that's all we really are. But if we don't have water, that's kind of need number one. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah. Water is very important.
And I think I'm a good water drinker. I am glad to say that is something I don't struggle with. But I know a lot of people that don't drink nearly enough water. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I can tell you if you want. Our body's really adaptable, right? Bodies are very adaptable. They're so good at that because their sole mission in life is to survive.
Right.
That's your body's sole mission. And so if it thinks it's been sending you a lot of thirst signals and you're not responding to it in a meaningful way, it assumes that there is no water around. It assumes, right, that we must be living in a drought where there is no water available, because why else would my human body be ignoring me? Why else would this person be ignoring the signals I'm sending them? Right? Yeah. But that's what it is. And it's so funny because I love that you're laughing at that, because that's awesome. Because I'm like, it's funny and it's not funny because it's the world we live in. And so our brain, somebody mentioned this. I wish I could remember who, but I heard it somewhere. And they said your brain is basically living in a black box. And so it only knows what we respond to and what we tell it. So by not responding to the thirst signals it's sending, we're telling it there's no water, there's nothing to drink, there's nothing for us to help you with this. And the same goes for hunger. If we don't respond to our hunger, it assumes that there must not be food around. And so then with thirst in particular, it actually ends up kind of starting to decrease the signals it sends and stop, because it takes energy to do that. And so it goes, okay, well, there must not be around. We'll try again later. Right? And it just keeps doing this. And so, yeah, and same with hunger. It does the same thing with hunger, because those are both just biological signals.
100%. You know, isn't it interesting? Like the fundamental functionality of our brains was built, you know, a millennia ago, right? Like thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Well, but we're not living in caves anymore.
We're not living in caves.
Right? Like we got running water. Like, you know, for most of us, I mean, there's certainly places in the world where there is. I want to be respectful of that. But for most of us, we have running water plumbed into our house that's pretty safe to drink. We are surrounded by it. And yet our brain still thinks we're living in a cave. The same thing with hunger. And isn't that interesting? It defaults to some of that deeply, deeply ingrained programming that somehow we are in a drought situation and there are no things to eat. Well, come on.
Right? It's so fascinating. It's because again, its sole purpose is to survive. That's all it wants. That's all it wants for you and for it is to survive. And so that's its mission.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, you know, but when our poor body is living in that survival space, again, we're not being, you know, optimal, and we're not being intentional. And so that comes back to that self-leadership. Right? Are we really operating in our business at our full potential if our body actually thinks we're in drought mode and famine mode? Like, she's laughing. You can't see her on the screen, but she's about to fall out of her chair. But I just wanted to put a fine point on this particular argument, because this is the truth of it, is like when we stop and we think about, wait a minute, am I really being successful if my body actually thinks I'm in survival? Oops.
That
was not intentional, right?
No, it wasn't.
No.
And it's funny because I was just thinking about that too. Like the hydration thing. A lot of people also think they don't have to go pee as much, right? I don't know if you talk about this stuff on your show.
No.
Sorry, maybe you should have.
We talk about all sorts of stuff on this show.
Okay, great. I was like, oh, I should have bet that. But okay, so people think they save time by not going to the bathroom or going pee, right? And so they think that that's kind of saving them time, and maybe they don't drink water, so they don't go pee during the day because productivity. But then you're also not hydrating your body, and that means, I mean, a wet brain is a productive brain.
Yeah.
Right. So we want our brain to be nice and wet. And so
Yeah.
Right. And so it's so funny to think about that. But,
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. Anyways,
well,
I just thought while you were talking.
And again, we think we're saving ourselves the 2 minutes it takes to get up and go to maybe 5. Like if you sit far away from a bathroom.
Yeah.
But we think we're saving ourselves time because we don't go to the bathroom. And that is somehow increasing our productivity. And yet our brain is actually in survival mode because it's thirsty. If this is you, if you're listening to this and you feel called out, you should. And I want you to stop and think about what you're doing with all the love and support we can offer. But like, if that's your thought process, I want you to press pause on the episode and I want you to sit for a minute and think your way through. I don't drink water, so I don't have to go to the bathroom because that makes me productive. But actually my brain is in survival mode because it's thirsty. Just sit with that for a moment because that's bonkers. It's the same thing with the hungry. Yeah.
Same thing with the hungry.
Process with the hungry.
100%. Same thing. That happens all the time too.
Yeah. You got to fuel your body.
It needs it. It needs it. And I was going to say, so I know maybe I like to give people like markers or indicators of how our body is doing, let's say. And so, with water, it's a really easy one is to just check the color of your pee when you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like such an easy check.
Yeah.
And so what the color you want it to be is just like barely yellow. So just like a little bit yellow, just noticeable that somebody went to the bathroom, the toilet. That's the color you're aiming for.
Yeah.
So if it's more yellow than that, you got to drink more.
Yeah. Well, and can I also offer that particularly because most of the women to listen to this show are of an age, shall I say?
Yes.
And many of us are in that perimenopause phase of our lives.
Yeah.
Our body's already under stress. And so we've got to make sure that we are hydrating properly. And this is not sports drinks. This is not Diet Cola. This is, this is like actual H2O, like the real deal. Hey, throw a couple lemon slices and a little mint in there, maybe some cucumber if you're feeling fancy. Like, do it, go for it.
Yeah.
But like, honest to God, H2O, put it in a bottle and drink it. Like it's as simple as that.
And bring the bottle with you.
And put it on your desk, right? Yeah. Like put it right beside you. Well, and it's kind of the same thing with the food. I mean, again, particularly being, a lot of us are in that perimenopause phase. It's all about the protein. I mean, for real, I have said over and over again, I feel like I'm eating protein like it's my part-time job.
Yes.
I think a lot of us are feeling like that right now. I mean, protein is important. Yes.
Protein is important. And so is fiber.
Yes,
and
the fiber.
There's essential fats. Essential fats also are a very important role actually in perimenopause. And I don't think they get about enough, but they're a really big deal too. So omega-3s in particular, the 3, 6, 9 are the essential fats. So yeah, but those are also a big deal. And then, so you do want to make sure you're getting kind of all of those things, which is a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about.
It does feel like it's a little overwhelming sometimes, Linz.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're in that boat where you're feeling very kind of overwhelmed with all the things you're supposed to be doing nutritionally, I often encourage you to simplify it. And instead of, I know this is kind of contradictory to what most people say, but a lot of people in Canada and North America are actually getting enough protein. We're not getting enough fiber.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is with protein is making sure you get it throughout the day instead of at one meal. Most of the time when we're eating normally, a lot of us just get protein at supper or big protein sources at supper. And so what I encourage people to do is, if you're feeling very overwhelmed by all the things you need to do, is at your meals, think about, where am I getting fiber from?
Right.
So just like, be like, where's the fiber? Find the fiber, enjoy your meal, and then spread out the protein throughout the day. So at the end of the day, you can question yourself, did I have protein throughout the day, or was it just at supper, and then adjust for tomorrow? So really just trying to make it a little bit more simple, if that helps you in any way, shape, or form, to stop if it feels really intense, right? If it doesn't feel intense, you're good doing your thing, then do your thing. But if you wanted a little bit of an ease back, that's kind of the way I encourage people to think about it.
If this conversation is actually hitting a little too close to home, if you're feeling really stretched thin or stuck in a busy trap, and you're wondering how much longer you can keep running like this, it's time for a reset, my friend. And that's exactly why I offer my Spark sessions. This is a focused 60-minute strategy session where we dig into what's really going on for you in your business and your leadership. And we start to build a path forward that actually feels sustainable. So if you're ready to stop spinning and start leading with more clarity, energy, and intention, this is really your next step. So you can head to the link in the show notes to book your Spark session right now.
I do think for many of us, I think keeping it simple is actually crucial. There's a lot of complexity in our days. We're founders, we're entrepreneurs, we're juggling a number of things, we're scaling businesses. And so one more complex thing. And aren't we just terrible? We leave ourselves to the bottom of the list. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
That is.
So keeping it simple is great. Where's the protein? Where's the fiber?
Mm-hmm.
Have I had a couple colorful things on my plate today? Like that too, I think is important.
You can, yeah. That can be where your fiber is, though.
Yeah. Okay. See, I feel better about breakfast already because I had strawberries with my breakfast.
Right. So you had fiber. You're wonderful.
100%.
Got it in there.
100%.
I mean, we don't need to make it so hard. It doesn't need to be so hard, especially when you're capacity. So, right, you have to think about capacity too, right? We can say, oh, I want this and this and this and this, but then we have to take a realistic look at our life and explore, how would this fit? How would this work within the life that I have already built? Yeah. How would this fit, right? What's my capacity like right now? Do I have that much room to be counting and weighing and doing all these things?
Yeah.
Or do I have less capacity, but I still want to make a change? So how would I do that?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a really important thing to consider as well from an individualistic perspective, and just taking that into consideration to really take that exploration about your own life.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, really like that. And as you were talking, I was thinking about, you pick one thing. Yeah. You pick the one thing. Okay. I'm going to have protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay. So pick the one, or I'm really going to think about where my just start with one of them.
Start with one.
Or you know what? I probably need to add that omega, to my diet. Okay, just put the bottle on your desk, take it every day at the same time, right? Like pick the one thing, start there, conquer that, and then layer in another thing and another thing and another thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting with one, the thing that you're most confident you're going to do is what I usually start with. Is pick the thing you're most confident you're going to do, because often with health promoting habits, we have this history of feeling like we failed, most of us. Right. And so pick the one you're most confident in, because we want to build momentum. We want you to feel empowered. We want you to keep going. And so by picking the one you're most confident in, you're going to have the most high chance of success. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be like, wow, I did it. I can do this. Look at me go.
Look at me.
And then you're going to look at me. Right. So it's just a really great way to start your whatever journey you're going on. Yeah, it's great.
I love that. And, I think that's the thing, is that we just need to start. I think we do get into that analysis paralysis a little bit. Oh, which one and how many and how much and do I need and blah, blah, blah. And then we get stuck and just going with the one you're going to do. And it feels like the least resistance, maybe, is the way I would put it.
Yeah. Well, and you said analysis paralysis, and it's that. And it's also, there's this huge, everybody in this era, let's say, has been raised with that all or nothing black and white thinking too. So we're like, we must do it all or it doesn't count. And there's that overthinking component, right? And then there's the not enough time component, and there's all these different layers to this. So really just, again, it's exploring what you got going on in your life and then choosing the thing that you feel most confident you can do.
Yeah. See, I like that because I think you said at the beginning, we get so many messages around all of these pieces. We really do. So many. And it feels like a lot sometimes.
It is a lot. It is a lot. There's a lot of messages and so many of them contradict each other.
They really do, don't they?
Yes.
Like, no wonder we're so confused about what we should and shouldn't be eating and how we need to do. Like, well, and as soon as I hear that should word, I know something's up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty good indication that there's things happening that are not what they need to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, when you are working with someone like me or like someone that listens to the show, what are some of the first things that you want to get into with them?
Oh, that's a great question. So I do a whole life. I do a whole life picture. I like to zoom way out and figure out what is going on. So I ask you about sleep. I ask you about your drinking habits, your eating habits, your relationships. What do you do to de-stress? What do you do for all of these things? Because all of those things are then connected to your eating habits. So if sleep is a big problem and we're not getting enough sleep, then we can't expect our body to rationally be hungry throughout the day.
Right. Yes.
Right? We can't. We cannot expect our body to do that because our body's seeking energy in any way it can find it because we didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Right. So it also goes into self-leadership.
Yeah.
And if we don't have really great coping tools, usually food is a placeholder. It's a very
I'm raising my hand.
She's raising her hand.
High. Holding it high.
Right? Yeah.
Food as a coping mechanism. 100%.
It's for a lot of people. Like this is not something that is an anomaly. It's a lot of people. And food is emotional. Like it is emotional. But as a placeholder, especially when it's your only coping tool or your only placeholder for that, it can become a bit of a problem because we don't have other tools in place.
Yeah.
So that's also why I look at that too. I want to know what you do to de-stress. And I want them to be real de-stressors, not numbing tools, because there's a little bit of a difference there as well.
And we get those confused, don't we?
We sure do.
Yes.
Yes. So it has to be something where you actually feel good afterwards and not bad afterwards that you just did that thing instead of something else too.
100%.
Right? That's a good way to kind of identify for yourself without having to work with somebody like me to figure that out, is to be like, how did I feel after that? Was it something that just helped in the moment or did I actually feel better after?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's actually a really great question.
Thanks. Yeah. I like that one a lot. It works well for people because it's a hard thing to differentiate, right? We think we're de-stressing, but we're actually numbing. And so it's a hard thing to figure out.
Again, I think that programming kicks in, right? We don't even realize.
We don't. There's so much of it. And it's very interesting how many patterns we've learned in the health space and in the behavioral coping space too. Like there's just so much patterns we've learned. And so it's very interesting to take, that's why when you ask me, what do I like to dive into? I take that full wide lens because I want to know you. Yeah. I want to know what's going on in your life. Again, I'm not going to suggest something to you. I'm not going to be like, oh, you need to drink more water, but you're knocking it out the park with water, right? And or sleep is more important, or we need to work on coping skills, or we have really no indication of hunger or fullness. We don't know what that feels like in our body. Yeah. So then we need to do different things, right? We need to do different things and figure out what's going on. And then if there's any chronic illness, of course, we want to address that too, or family history of chronic illness, because I like to be proactive in that as well. Yeah. Because genetics always play a role. So yeah, we take a wide lens. It's fun. It's really fun because then it's for you. It's 100% for you.
I really appreciate that because I do think now, and not with I'm going to assume good intention. I think there are lots of people in the health space who have the best of intentions and genuinely do want to help people. But it does tend to be very surface level. It does tend to be 12 steps or 5 things or 3 keys or eat this or don't eat that or eat all of this or don't eat any of that. Like it does tend to be, very superficial in that sense. And I think that's what makes what you do very different is that it is deep and it is wide. And I think that that's when you make systemic change in your life.
I agree. And I've done the other stuff too. Like I've done the meal plans, right, for people. I've done the things, and even different things like that. And they're great. I used to do them because people wanted them. That's why I did them.
Yeah.
And so, right. And so I used to do them, but then people would be frustrated because it would last like 3 to 5 weeks, maybe. And then they'd be done. And I'd be like, okay, well, but so now I don't do it at all anymore because I feel like it gives people a little bit of false hope. When it's just not going to fit your life because I don't know your life well enough to do that for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so also a lot of people, we want to promote. So nuance is tricky. Nuance is tricky for anything.
Yeah.
And there are biases in health, just like there are biases everywhere else.
Sure.
Right. So, and I think that needs to be said more often. I think we need to address that more often, that biases exist in health spaces. And being able to separate yourself and being able to take the time to go deep and watch, it takes a lot of work. Like it takes a lot of work to do that. A lot easier to say, eat this, eat that, don't eat this, right? Three foods to cure whatever.
Oh God, yes.
Right? Like it's that stuff, and that stuff gets a lot of traction and attention. Saying, you tell me what's going on in your life and we'll work on a plan together. It isn't as catchy, right? It's not as catchy.
Yeah. And I think, for anyone that's listening, I think we've all seen that. We see the recipes. I have an entire folder on Facebook just for recipes. I think I've made 3 of them. No, again, best intentions, right? But I think we've all seen that stuff and then perhaps tried some of it and it doesn't work and it is disappointing. And it does become a bit of a self-enforcing prophecy because you're right. It does take time. It does take intention. It does take some work. There's a lift at the front end to say, I'm making an investment in my health. I'm working with Lindsay because we are going to get right underneath all of these things. We're going to get under the hood. We're going to get a grip on what is happening or not happening, so that we can make long-term systemic shifts that are going to serve me not just this week, but for many years. And I love that.
Exactly. I know. I always tell people that when I'm done working with you, I really my goal is for you not to come back.
That's not much of a business model, just saying.
It's really terrible as a business. I know, but I'm like, my goal is for you to be set up for success and know how to continue to build momentum for yourself. Like that's our goal. Yeah. Because I want you to feel that empowered and have all those tools to know how to do that and how to have that resilience in healthcare and health promoting habits and those kind of things, like to be able to do that. So,
And I do, you know what? The truth is, I think after you've tried some of that guru-ish, garbage, I do think you get to a place where you're like, okay, I need to take care of myself here for the long term. Like this isn't serving me. And again, if you're listening, hit pause and just think about what is it that is not serving you? And what is the change that you really, truly need to make so that you can look after yourself and your wellness, so that you can lead effectively in your business and your life. Because we're wives and mothers and sisters and aunties and besties and all of those things. We've got a lot of roles to play. We've got to be healthy to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but what do you think is, one of the things that we can change that is that sort of piece that almost everybody can make a shift and do it, and it'll make a difference. What do you think that is?
Okay. So I ever do a TED Talk, this is probably what it's going to be about. But
Yeah. Lay it on us.
it's going to be, so I actually think that self-compassion is something that will make a massive difference
Love it.
in everybody's approach to health and the way they treat themselves and talk to themselves. Because when we think about health promoting habits, basically it's self-care.
Yeah.
It's moving your body, it's feeding your body, it's watering your body. And so if we came to that with a lens of self-compassion and we were, instead of beating ourselves up all the time and feeling like we're the worst and such failures,
Yeah.
and depreciating our self-worth and our self-esteem, and instead we took that compassionate lens to that, what a difference that would make. Holy smokes. We wouldn't have to feel validated by pushing our beliefs about what my health promoting habits work for me onto you, because I know that those work for me and me alone because I've done that exploration, right? I think it would make a massive difference. So
Yeah, and particularly as a juxtaposition to an industry that actually lives on shame. Like,
yes.
let's be clear, the health and wellness industry thrives on shaming every single one of us into believing that we're not good enough in some way.
Right.
We're not
Something's
skinny
wrong with
enough.
you.
We're not healthy enough. We don't work out enough. We don't eat enough. All of it. All of it is about not being enough.
All of it.
And so,
Not say that enough times. One more time.
yeah,
All of it.
all
It's
of
about
it
that.
for the kids in the back.
Right?
The health industry is about telling us that we are not good enough and we're not doing it right. And they make money from having us believe all of that.
So much money.
Instead,
It's a huge industry.
right? It's bonkers. It's bonkers. Instead of all of that junk that gets, like, it becomes the head trash, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we could just have like some radical self-compassion. I ate protein for lunch today. Yay me.
Right?
Yay me.
What a difference does that make?
What a difference. And that true story, my friends, because I often skip lunch. So true story, I had lunch, check. I ate protein at lunch, check. Woohoo.
It's a double check moment.
Yay
We're winning.
me.
We're winning. Yes. Yeah, you.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And if you didn't, it would be, instead of beating yourself up, it's that compassion. What was happening? Why didn't I?
Yep.
Could I do something different next time to increase my chances?
100%.
Right? And
Yeah.
so that's where that really makes such a big difference.
Yeah. I love that. Self-compassion, my friends. That is the name of the game. Linz, where do we find you? Where do you hang out?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Lindsay Martens Nutrition. And my website is lindsaymartensnutrition.com. So I tried to keep it real simple for everybody. It's everywhere, same place. Martens is Martens.
Yes.
And Lindsay is the old school way, the Lindsay.
Yeah.
Same as your host here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Go
that's good.
AYs.
Also, AYs. Woo. So I also have a quiz. I thought this might be helpful for other people just based on what we're
Yes.
talking about. It's called the Quiet the Food Noise Quiz. And so it's totally free. It's pretty quick. It's kind of fun. And you take it and you find out what your main food noise trigger is. And so there's 4 different types you can be, whether maybe it's skipping meals or overthinking every bite or stress eating or coping
Yeah.
or swinging between that extremes, that all or nothing kind of
Yeah.
mentality. So you'll get kind of placed based on your answers, and then you get some really helpful resources in your email as well.
And listen, I've done the quiz. It actually is, really helps with some important self-awareness, right? So like what's actually going on for you. And then Linz sends you some incredible information. She's very, very generous with her time and her expertise. So we'll put the quiz in the show notes because we want everybody to have access to go and do that. And yeah, you'll find out a little something about yourself and get some information that could really be helpful so that you can have a little more self-compassion and
And self-leadership.
and lead yourself, right?
Yeah.
Really invest in leading yourself. So thank you. I'm super grateful for your time today. Thank you for sharing your incredible wisdom, and you're really kind spirit with us. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Lindsay. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, the real magic happens when you're unplugged.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.